It's the Worst of the Riot podcast, the Tuesday, October 31st, Halloween edition of the show. Although, if you're tuning in to the video podcast, we actually don't have anything Halloween-y in here. We're not even dressed up or anything.
But the audio podcast has a good amount of Halloween.
That's right. The audio podcast is an excuse. If you're watching the video podcast, that's great. You should also subscribe because you're missing out on bonus content if you listen to our Worst of the Riot audio podcast, you know, like the standard podcast. On there, we debut a brand new game called Average Joe, which is Halloween themed today. Also, no matter what version of the podcast you're experiencing, you are going to find out about the new underwear partner of the NBA, official partner, and why Isaiah thinks it has something to do with Taylor Swift.
We also talk about putting your relationship through the bird test.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, and that's one of the better tests that you can do with your girlfriend or boyfriend if you're wanting to know if it's going to last.
Yeah. My wife and I have been together for years. Should I put her through the bird test?
Absolutely. I'm putting everyone I know through the bird test.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
Never too late.
You can put friends through the bird test for all I care.
Yeah.
Anybody can go through the bird
Lifelong
test.
friends.
Yeah.
It's a good test. It is. All right. And it's a good podcast. Good show today. Enjoy it. Happy Halloween. And we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot. RadioU.
I've got a new dating term for you. I think this is something that almost anybody who's dated for a while has been through. Drifting. It's so simple. Drifting is where, you know, you start out a relationship, things are real exciting. You're doing all the, you know, the big stuff. You're buying flowers randomly, getting random gifts, really fun, exciting dates. And that lasts for a while. And you guys are a good match, but you stick together for a while. And eventually, and it's a different timeline for everybody, but eventually you look up and you're kind of like, I mean, we're still together, but we're not like as close as we used to be. We've drifted apart.
It's not the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes that means the end of the relationship. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes that can be, the spark can be reignited, so to speak. But if you've ever been in a relationship for a little while, you probably experienced that. And I think we oftentimes experience that with Jesus too, where maybe you're somebody who's had a relationship with God and you started out and things were really great and, you know, God was a big thing in your life. And then you look up over time and somehow you didn't mean for this to happen, but you just kind of drifted away a little bit. Or maybe you're somebody who's never gotten into Jesus. That's never really been your thing. Maybe you consider it, but then again, you look at your life now and you're like, well, I've drifted so far away from where I think God would even want me that I don't think that's a viable option. But I want to tell you that God, you can never drift too far away from God. Just like in a relationship, in so many relationships, dating relationships or marriage or whatever, if both people are willing, the spark can be reignited. It can be fixed in many instances. If you've drifted away from God, whether, you know, from day one or a relationship with him or not, it's not too late. Jesus is there waiting to want to call you back and reignite things. And so now you can try that too. Just say, hey, God, I'm ready to find out. I'm ready to get back together. I'm ready to reignite the spark. Let's do this thing. Jesus is going to help you through life, and all you need to do is ask, no matter where you are. You want to know more? Check out RadioU.com/free gift.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. RadioU.
You want your relationship to last? You know what you got to do? You got to put it through the bird test. Have you ever heard of this, or have you seen this going around? It's now gaining some popularity on TikTok.
I haven't seen it yet.
The bird test. Here's what it is. You have let's say you're getting in. This could be a romantic relationship or just a simple friendship. Somebody new you're starting to hang out with one-on-one a little more. What you do is you point out something insignificant. The example given, it doesn't have to be this, but the example given is oh, look, a woodpecker. And if the person that you're with, that this new person you're hanging out with, if they're like, cool, then that's a relationship that may not last. But if they respond with genuine interest and curiosity, like a woodpecker, where? And then you go on to talk about woodpeckers for a little while, that's a sign that the relationship will last, because that shows that it's something that they're interested in what you find interesting.
Interesting.
It is. It is interesting.
You think this could work?
I think you have to be careful how you use it. I think you have to pick the right thing. It doesn't have to be the bird. It doesn't have to be a woodpecker. It has to be something that would be considered insignificant, generally. Like, many people may ignore it, may just brush off the comment. So you have to really have a good thing. But also, if you say a woodpecker and then there's not actually a woodpecker there, that can kind of like really kill it. So you got.
Yeah, I can imagine that really derailing it.
That would be weird. That they also look for the woodpecker and then maybe
it's not there.
Yeah, and then you have to lie to them if it was never there in the first place. Starting your relationship with lies, not usually smart.
Do I think this would work on me? Like, would I be likely to be like, oh, that's incredible?
Yeah.
I don't know if it would. If you did like a bird.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like, would you look at that? That's what I would say. Looky there. A woodpecker.
It has to be something insignificant, but then again, you have to be careful, because what if you did this to my mom, she might not actually be genuinely interested in what you have to say typically, but she likes birds, so she would look. So you might get stuck in a relationship where you have to talk about birds a lot.
True.
And you just like taking it, you were just getting coffee or whatever. So you have to be careful. You have to pick the right thing and choose your right spot. But the concept makes a lot of sense.
I agree about the concept, because it is important in your relationship to make sure that that they're willing to be interested in what you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, it's mainly like the Browns and the Buckeyes and the Cavs.
For us, we could look at, like, to do this, you can't be a cookie cutter for everybody. You have to pick your own thing that's your bird test.
Oh, I know what mine is.
But for me, I could look at my phone. I could, out on a date, see like a notification, make up a notification. Oh, look, the Red Sox lost 9-7. If they just ignore that, then that's a sign.
Kick him to the curb.
Yeah, that's right. It's over. But if they're like, not 9-7.
Oh, no. Ruin my whole night.
Yeah, what did they have? Cutter Crawford pitching? then it's a sign things could be headed in the right direction. You guys will last for a while.
I think mine is just going to be the touchdown test.
The touchdown test?
Yeah, whenever the Browns score a touchdown, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
And I look at them and I'm like, any reaction? Anything? Can you fake it? Are you willing to fake it?
But if they're a real fan, you'd be like, why are you doing the touchdown? What? It's a Wednesday. What are you talking about? So
Browns aren't even playing.
Yeah, you've got to be. It's our bye week. You just got to be careful. You got to be careful. But I think the concept is a good one. And then you come up with what is the bird test for you? It's not, you don't ask them something. You casually observe something and see if they share your curiosity.
Would they at least be fake interested in it?
Yeah, because they like you enough. That's the test. I like it.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Now, this might surprise you, Isaiah. I've got a new survey. 2,000 Americans. Lots of surveys today. This survey has nothing to do with Halloween. It splits Americans into two categories. There's two different types of people. There's either spenders or savers. Which one are you?
I would consider myself maybe a mix of both. I'm not sure. It depends on the day.
I guess you'd be amongst the 10% who didn't claim to be either.
I'm a little bit confused
You're
as
right
to
in between.
where I land. Depends on what day it is. Weekday saver, weekend spender, maybe.
I think you have the mentality of a saver with the practices of a spender.
Could be so.
Might be what
Could
comes
be,
down
could
to for
be
you.
So.
I wish I was a saver, but I think it. You know what? I don't know. It's really tough to tell once you pool finance of somebody else. But what they found was that spenders are basically across the board happier than savers are. They asked in many different aspects, rate your happiness with this. And spenders are happier with relationships. 78% of spenders were happy with their relationships versus only 63% of savers. Work life, 78% of, yet again, spenders happy with their work life versus only 57% of savers. In personal life, 77% happy as far as spenders go, and 71% of savers are happy with that. However, unsurprisingly, when it comes to financial life, the savers. No, that's actually wrong. So basically, the spenders were happier across the board in every single category. If you're a spender, if you just kind of blow your money quickly, blow right through it instead of saving it wisely, you're happier. You're a happier person. Make it make sense, Isaiah. I thought saving was important.
Saving is important. When I think about this seems like there's no way this could be possible. But
yeah, I mean, it's not even close. It's like 70, almost 80% of people that are spenders are happy with everything, whereas you struggle to get above 70% of people that are savers happy with anything.
See, which makes me think, like, maybe the less you know, the better. That's what I'm starting to think this could be.
Ignorance is bliss, some would say.
Could even be. Like, it says 73% of spenders were happier with their financial life than 56% of savers.
Barely more than half of savers are happy with their money, the one thing you'd think they'd be satisfied with.
Well, I think that's because they just want more of it.
Yeah, there's never enough. And,
they want to save more. Maybe they're very financially competent.
And so
they're stressed out about it more, where the spenders are maybe a little bit more like, I have enough to buy whatever I want at this point in time.
That's all you need. That's all
I got a thing yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, that's...
Where the savers like, I can't buy a house yet. I'm $100,000 away.
Yeah, and that's what'll make me happy is once I finally have enough money saved up that I can rest. Can you ever? I don't know. I don't know if it was shocking, but I feel like you'd expect to see it not be such a big divide, where eventually you'd expect in some categories, maybe you'd think that savers would be hitting some kind of benchmark goal where they'd be happy, and spenders eventually would hit some kind of point, rock bottom, where they're like, I've spent everything I can and now I'm not happy, now I have nothing. But I don't know. I guess the answer is, for happiness, spend, spend, spend.
I guess so. It sounds like that's terrible advice.
It sounds like it, but the numbers don't lie.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
I will confess, I did not stay up and watch Monday Night Football last night with the Raiders playing the Lions, because I just figured the Lions are much better. They won. What was it, 24-16? But I have been seeing this morning some highlights that are making me actually very happy, and I want to know if this is wrong for me to be happy. Devontae Adams, wide receiver. He's a star wide receiver. Some think, maybe even now, that he's the best receiver in the NFL. He's definitely up there. And yet again, last night, he was seen throwing his helmet on the sidelines in frustration because Jimmy Garoppolo, quarterback for the Raiders, missed him on a wide open throw, overthrew him a little bit. Devontae Adams is not happy in Las Vegas. He's made with the Raiders. He's made that seemingly very clear the last couple of weeks. And the reason why it makes me happy is because, of course, he used to be paired up with Aaron Rodgers. He was Aaron Rodgers' go-to guy in Green Bay. And then he decided to leave before Aaron Rodgers did to head to Las Vegas to play with Derek Carr, who's not even there anymore. Is it wrong that this makes me happy?
I don't think it's wrong, but I don't know if it's right.
I just like to see. I like how everybody who shunned Aaron Rodgers is getting their comeuppance now. Devontae Adams, the first of all to get his comeuppance. How's it
But would
working
he
out
have
for
been
him?
better off to stay?
Yeah.
But Aaron was still leaving.
They would have had one more year together. Who knows what would have happened?
But he was good last year. I think this is the first year he's getting his comeuppance. I mean, obviously the Raiders weren't a good team last year, but he was still had a good season. This year, his stats are way down. Like last year, he had his second most yards he's ever had with the second most touchdowns he's ever had. He had a great season. This year, he's on track for his worst season since 2019.
Yeah.
So this year's not looking good. And I think he just wants to contend. I think he wants to be on a team that can win a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to play with Derek Carr, his college quarterback. And they are not that team. He needs to be moved.
Yeah.
He needs to be traded.
It was but I mean, he knew Derek Carr only had a year left on his contract. Very short-sighted of him to think that the Raiders were bringing him back, bringing Derek Carr back.
But would he have? Don't you think that he would have thought that there was a higher chance for him to play with Derek Carr for 4 years than Aaron Rodgers?
I don't know.
They were going through the same thing.
It worked pretty well with Aaron Rodgers. Who knows how things would be different? And the Packers getting their comeuppance too. They decided to try out Jordan Love. How's that working? Heads are going to roll in Green Bay too. Whereas Aaron Rodgers could come back later this year and win a Super Bowl.
Wait a minute. Are the Jets happy with their decision?
I think Aaron Rodgers is happy, and that's what matters to me.
He's happy.
Yeah.
He has played no snaps for them. He's played 3 snaps for them.
And he's still viewed as a hero, as he should be. He's keeping them afloat with just his presence, his mere presence.
I don't know if that's what I call it, but in your eyes, that's okay.
Yeah. I think he's better off than anybody else.
What did the Jets give up for him? Because so far, that has seemed like a terrible deal.
Yeah, we don't even know what it is because it was so meaningless.
Couple first-round picks, I'm assuming.
And you know what
Hopefully he plays.
Hey, you know what the Jets have that neither the Packers nor Devontae Adams has? A hope of a Super Bowl.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
You may be too old for trick-or-treating, but if so, that means you're probably just the right age for a boo basket. Isaiah, have you ever heard of a boo basket?
I unfortunately have.
You have?
I've heard of boo baskets.
Have you ever gotten a boo basket?
I've never gotten a boo basket now that I think about it.
Oddly enough.
I've never bought a boo basket either.
Botten?
Bought?
Yeah. A boo basket, if you're unfamiliar, because for me, I've never heard of this, but a boo basket is a basket of goodies that you would give to your significant other or receive from your significant other that is fall, Halloween themed. Basically, they say it's like an Easter basket, but for fall, but for Halloween. You could put things like, say, candles would be a good thing to include, perhaps. I know you would enjoy a basket full of candles.
I've been on these Halloween candles. I
Yeah.
buy one like every time I go to Kroger because right now they're all 50% off.
Yeah.
And I've been buying one every time I go.
But they still
I've
smell.
got like 7 Halloween candles right now in my house.
They still smell good, even if it's not Halloween anymore. They still a nice, still like the smell of s'mores or.
Mine right now is Black Cat Crawl.
What
I
is
believe
that?
I've got in the house.
What does that mean?
No, it smells good. I'm not really sure what the flavor is, but it smells grand.
Other things you could do. Oh, blankets. Especially like if you want to go big, a heated blanket would be great for this
Well, that's a
time of
bit
year.
crazy for a boo basket.
I don't know. How much do you like them? Do you like the person? Obviously, Halloween candy and then other Halloween themed merchandise, whatever you can think, whatever's Halloween themed that you think your partner might like, you pop down to Boo Basket. Obviously, today is the prime day to do that, right?
I don't know. I would say tomorrow.
Tomorrow with all the discounts.
Yeah, you want to wait till everything's on discount, which most of it's on discount right now.
Yeah, I went to the store yesterday, and all the candy was already at least 50% off.
Yep.
So
Same thing with all the Halloween stuff.
Today and tomorrow, it might be a little panicky. Or today is a little panicky in there, so the shelves might be kind of picked bare of Halloween stuff by tomorrow, unless it's the stuff that sucks. So
throw that in the boo basket. Here you go, babe.
yeah.
All the leftovers.
I was thinking of you. The riot made me think of you. And so I got you a boo basket.
Yeah, you can throw like some candy in there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a blanket, a candle, necessities. If you're trying to throw a signal out there, this is a great time to toss a signal out. Maybe her breath's been stinging recently, a little thing of Listerine.
I think that's the signal you were.
You can toss that in a
going
boo
with.
basket because in a boo basket can be anything. It's like an Easter basket.
Yeah. You could put deodorant.
You can put anything in there.
Uh-huh. Especially if it's pumpkin spice flavored. It's all fair game.
Oh, true. You can toss anything in a boo basket. So if you're trying to send like any kind of signal,
yeah. If you want to be a little passive aggressive.
toss it right in the boo basket.
All right.
It's just along with everything else in there. It's just a bunch of random treats for you.
Just some trinkets for Halloween. And it's a way to, I think it's a way to pump up the relationship a little bit.
Maybe even save it.
If the boo basket is saving your relationship,
It better be good.
yeah.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
Now it's time to play our brand new game that is legally different from Family Feud. It's Average Joe.
It's time to run it back, Average Joe. A head-to-head between Hudson and the average Radio U listener. I'm going to give you guys the answers for a Halloween-related survey, and you guys vote for the top one on what is a wonderful Halloween edition of Average Joe.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We're talking about the Halloween tradition in the USA that the average Joe enjoys the most.
Okay.
They have
enjoys the most. Got it.
They have taken out trick-or-treating because it was the clear and obvious number one.
Got it.
So your options are a Halloween party, picking/decorating pumpkins, watching Halloween movies, haunted houses, or a hayride/corn maze. I'll run through them one more time for you.
Yeah, these are some tricky ones.
You guys want to vote in at 8772 Radio. You will tally the votes. You go head-to-head with Hudson. You're trying to pick the top tradition the American people enjoy the most. We've got haunted houses, picking/decorating pumpkins, watching Halloween movies, Halloween parties, or the hayride/corn maze. Text it in.
All right, 8772 Radio U. What do you think is the most enjoyed Halloween tradition other than trick-or-treating? We'll find out if any of us know what the average Joe thinks.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
We're in the midst of our brand new game. We call it Average Joe, where we find out if you and I know what the average Joe thinks.
And this time it's a Halloween edition of Average Joe. So your options we're talking about traditions that people enjoy the most for Halloween.
What does the average Joe enjoy the most
options,
besides trick-or-treating?
Yeah, besides trick-or-treating, your options were hayride/corn maze, Halloween parties, picking/decorating pumpkins, Halloween movies, and haunted houses. The text have came in. It is overwhelmingly in one direction. Abby going with picking and decorating pumpkins. Crystal says pumpkin carving. Susanna, movies. Elise picking pumpkins. Regina says those pumpkin patches make a killing. Jesse says the Halloween parties. Paul says Halloween parties. Thomas carving pumpkins, maybe? Phyllis pumpkins. Jeffrey pumpkins. Mike is torn between hayride and haunted house. We'll go with hayride. So it sounds like Radio U is going with carving/picking pumpkins. What does Hudson say?
The Radio U Joe says pumpkins. As somebody who's done the pumpkin thing, and I just carved a pumpkin last week. That's not very enjoyable. I am going to say movies.
The Halloween movies. Well, let's go. Bottom to top.
All right.
Hayride / corn maze, the least enjoyable Halloween tradition. Then we've got...
I guess once you're over the age of like 7, not exciting.
Then we've got Halloween parties.
Okay. Too much hassle.
Followed by haunted houses.
Yeah, too scary.
Now the top 2. Coming in second place, it is watching Halloween movies.
No.
Coming in first place, picking / decorating pumpkins.
Picking pumpkins is not fun. Carving them is okay, but it's kind of just not rewarding unless your pumpkin looks really good afterwards. But picking them is not. You're walking out in a muddy field.
Picking / decorating pumpkins at 19%. Watching Halloween movies, 17%. The haunted house at 14%. The RadioU listeners, do what I can never do. Defeat Hudson.
Oh,
what a grand morning.
Suddenly I don't like this game as much.
I love this game.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
Now, on to a seasonably appropriate wine. English wine brand 19 Crimes has a wine that's available only in Europe right now for the Halloween weekend and holiday. That is actually wine that they buried 6 feet underground in an oak casket for it to be aged. They buried it, and they didn't just bury it anywhere. They buried it in an actual graveyard beside actual graves. And they dug it up and shipped it out to a bunch of different pubs across the UK where people are now able to taste it for the next, well, I guess today's probably the last day. Would you be brave enough to try something that was buried in a graveyard?
Sounds kind of spooky. This whole 19 Crimes, though.
Yeah.
Good marketing.
Yeah, for this time of year.
The little coffin that it was into.
Uh-huh.
It looks awful cool.
Yeah.
And you know what kind of wine this is, right?
What do you mean?
You know what this wine is synonymous for?
When I looked at it, and I don't drink wine, but I was like, 19 Crimes. Isn't that the Snoop Dogg wine?
That is the Snoop Dogg wine.
So they really are good at branding, because I have never had a sip of this, and even I knew. I was like, that's the Snoop Dogg wine.
Yep, that's the one with Snoop Dogg on the front of it. Now they've got a coffin version.
Yeah. Oh, there's nothing more I like to think about when I sip on a drink than Snoop Dogg Graveyard. Those are the top 2 things.
I would just think dirt the whole time, right?
Yeah, that's right. But again, I don't know really much about wine at all. Doesn't some wine have like, what do they call it? Like an earthy taste? And that could be considered a positive if that's what you're looking for. If you want an earthy wine. I don't know. This feels like this would have to be very earthy.
Earthiness is an umbrella term for aroma and flavor compounds suggestive of mushroom vegetation and wet leaves. Usually present in red wines.
See, when it's described like that, it makes me want to drink even less.
What, mushrooms, vegetation, and wet leaves?
Wet leaves. This tastes like wet leaves.
What if I add in...
Give me more.
What if I add in potting soil, root vegetables, and hay bales? Does that do anything extra for you?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, this makes me think of dirt.
Yeah. So it was good branding until they tell you that it actually was buried underground.
But the little coffin that it comes in, very cool. Looks cool.
But then again, you know what else is buried underground? Potatoes. And they are delicious. So you just never know.
There you go.
You just never know.
You should work for their marketing team and put that in the commercial.
They should make potato wine. Bet you that tastes great. Or really earthy.
Either way, it could be a Halloween drink of choice for you if you were in like Europe or something, right?
Yeah, I think it's only in the UK, so not here. But hey, who's to say you can't just buy your own wine and then go bury it in your yard for a while?
I'm sure you can get it online too if you wanted to.
Maybe.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the Riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Congratulations are in order to Kim Kardashian. Finally, something goes her way. She's now the proud co-founder of the official underwear brand of the NBA. That's right. SKIMS has reached an agreement with the NBA. They announced yesterday SKIMS is the official underwear partner for the NBA, as well as the WNBA and USA Basketball. Big news. It's a big get for SKIMS.
Smart.
Yeah, smart.
For both sides. I think this is winning both ways, I would say. For the NBA and for Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, she needed a win. Why does the NBA need an official underwear partner?
See, this is a good question, Hudson.
Uh-huh.
The reason is because they're trying to endorse their product to a whole new audience. They're taking a note maybe after the NFL. Who has the NFL recently collabed with that has maybe grown their brand maybe towards more of a female demographic? Anybody think of a name? Maybe Taylor Swift?
Taylor Swift. Well, the Kardashians have been dating NBA players for a lot longer than Taylor Swift's been dating Travis Kelce.
So fully endorsed it at this point.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, 275 million followers on Instagram. You would assume she has more than Kim K because of how much she's talked about. Kim K, 364 mil.
Yeah.
100 million more than Taylor Swift.
Kim K's been out a little longer, I think.
Yeah, and so this is the perfect combo. And SKIMS, one of the most popular, like one of the most hot topic brands right now.
Yeah, it is. They just launched their men's line. They also teamed up with Neymar, too, from soccer. Football, as some call it. It's big for SKIMS, for sure. I don't know. You think that a bunch of Kim Kardashian lovers are going to start watching the NBA because players are wearing supposedly SKIMS underneath their outfits, underneath their uniforms?
I'm just thinking about, like, I don't know, the marketing brand deals with it.
Yeah.
Like, you see LeBron in a pair of SKIMS. You don't think that's going to get some views on Instagram and TikTok?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's things like that, it's clickbaity stuff like that I think can make this partnership work.
Yeah. It does make me think, what's the official underwear partner of the other leagues?
They don't have one yet. It's a completely, the market for it
wide
is
open.
Wide open.
Yeah.
Where's Calvin Klein at? Hanes, where are you?
Get on it.
It seems as if you're being taken advantage of at this point by Kim Kardashian and SKIMS.
She's eating your lunch right now.
So yeah, this is big for SKIMS, and it's a great way for her to endorse the men's line.
Yeah, to get the word out there.
Because, like, no man right now is waking up this morning thinking, I need a pair of SKIMS underwear. Until they see their favorite NBA player in them.
Wow.
And Steph Curry is loving it. And they're like, you know what? I need a pair if I want to fully perform at my best on the court.
You know, Giannis looks pretty good in those. I wonder if I would look that good. Type thing. I got it. It all makes sense. Well, congratulations. Congratulations to everyone involved.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
You know, Halloween is here. Today's Halloween, but it's not too early to start thinking about Thanksgiving as well. You already licking your chops for Thanksgiving dinner, Isaiah?
You know, oddly enough, last night, I made some Thanksgiving cookies.
Thanksgiving cookies.
They felt fall-esque.
What made them Thanksgiving exactly?
So, you know, everybody will know what I'm talking about. You know those cookies that they're like the little tiny ones. And they have like the little colors on them. What are they called? The little sugar cookies? The real famous
like Pillsbury
ones. Yes, the Pillsbury ones.
What is it called? Something in bake?
Yes, it's Pillsbury Shake and Bake or something. But last night, the ones that I made had turkeys on them.
No way.
Yep, it's called Ready to Bake cookies.
Ready to Bake.
The pumpkin ones, everybody knows the pumpkin ones.
Yeah.
I made the turkey ones last night.
Huge MVPs at Christmas time.
I would have made the pumpkin ones, but at the store when I went, they only had the turkey ones available.
That's
and when
all
you
right.
see those,
Uh-huh.
you have to buy them.
Yeah. And
Because they're going to be gone.
you want
they're
to know?
gone.
You want to know a secret too? They all taste the same.
They do. They're the exact same.
But they're all delicious. One of my favorite things. You could have the most homemade cookie in the world, the most delicious thing, or like a crumble cookie, and then you could have one of those Pillsbury ones. And man, I'd be hard pressed not to choose Pillsbury.
Hey, those ready to
So
bakes
good.
they're
So
different, man. They're good.
From Thanksgiving cookies, what about Thanksgiving pizza? That's also ready to bake. Thanks to the fine people at DiGiorno who have just unveiled, and this is something that you're actually going to be able to get at retailers nationwide this November while supplies last. A Thanksgiving pizza from DiGiorno. Here's what you're talking about. This is a classic Thanksgiving dinner in pizza form. You've got turkey, creamy gravy sauce, diced sweet potatoes, colorful green beans and cranberries, rich mozzarella and cheddar cheeses, plus a crispy onion topping, all on there. Thick and chewy Detroit-style crust. Sound appealing?
This probably isn't for me, but maybe for somebody.
Where's the miss for you?
Oh, it's the chewy Detroit-style crust.
Oh, that's the problem?
You think that
have
I
with it?
want a Detroit-style crust? Come on.
Detroit-style crust is good. You need a thick Detroit-style crust to hold all those toppings.
See, that's what I'm wondering. I think, because I'm not a thick crust pizza guy. I'm okay with Jets. Jets is okay.
Yeah.
But every now and then. This sounds like an aggressive pizza,
Mm-hmm.
which for me, usually I'm just a pepperoni guy.
You know,
This isn't my style.
it feels like a little bit of a miss on DiGiorno's part because you know what they already make is a croissant crust pizza.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be pretty Thanksgiving-esque to have a croissant crust with all this stuff on top of it? That said, I don't think the rest of it sounds bad. This would be the first time I'd ever eat green beans on a pizza, but I think all the other stuff going around it could make the green beans manageable. They're not my most hated vegetable anyway, so I think we should try to get our hands on this and try it on the show one day.
Maybe around Thanksgiving in the next month or so. This could be our Riot Thanksgiving. With a DiGiorno
That could be, yeah.
Thanksgiving pizza.
I'm very intrigued by this. I think it's a good idea. I'm surprised nobody has done this. Pizza is so versatile, and I'm glad that DiGiorno at least is putting that versatility to good use.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.